Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have been defending the right for students to choose the subjects they do and the kind of future they want, rather than being forced into expensive, traditional subjects which are no good for society. Before I conclude our case, ladies and gentlemen, and tonight's debate, I have three main challenges with the arguments of the affirmative team. Firstly, the gender stereotypes will end somehow by the introduction of compulsory domestic skills. Secondly, that change in family structure is a reason to make this subject compulsory. And thirdly, that making compulsory domestic skills is going to increase the independence somehow of all students as they exit. Now to my first point, ladies and gentlemen. Will the stereotypes end? Now, we've argued this back and forward tonight between us, ladies and gentlemen, about this concept of stereotypes. They claim that with the introduction of their model, which is the compulsory domestic skills classes, that somehow the stereotypes from the 1950s will end. That idea of dad going to work and mum staying home will end. But they haven't shown that this stereotype even still exists. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, they've said that currently the family structure has changed and mums and dads both go out and work. Haven't these stereotypes already changed, ladies and gentlemen? Women are already, by law, supposed to get equal opportunity in the workplace. Mums and dads already share family responsibilities. In fact, their whole second argument is based on that idea that the family structure has changed. They can't have it both ways, ladies and gentlemen. They can't say we have this terrible stereotype problem on the one hand, let's fix it with this class, and then on the other hand say, well, the stereotype's over because everyone's going off to work anyway. They can't have it both ways. We claim the stereotype is dead and therefore their point is dead. There's no point. All right, now let's move on to their second point, which is that thing about the family. They said that changing the structure of a family means everyone have to look after themselves now, and therefore domestic skills are useful. We agree, useful. But these skills could be learnt anywhere. They don't have to be learnt in a grade 3 classroom. How are people coping now? Whenever you need a recipe, you can just go onto Facebook, as they said. You can just go onto Twitter. You can do a tutorial. You can go on social media and talk to someone from Szechuan if you're cooking Szechuan chicken. We're already in a world where information is immediately available at our fingertips. Their own argument about how we could pretty up domestic skills and call it survival skills, their own argument about how cool the devices are these days shows that we don't even need that class. We've got the devices. So it's a traditional idea to make it compulsory as a school subject, but it's unnecessary and it's just not needed. This leads into my third point, and one of their weakest points, might I say, ladies and gentlemen. The idea that somehow people are going to gain independence, this sense of independence because they can do it. They said that compulsory domestic skills will create a more confident, independent generation. How do we know this is true? Where are the statistics? Where are the studies? If independence and confidence were our goal, then we should be teaching them kung fu or quantum physics or something to make them feel confident. Why is domestic skills linked to feeling confident? Some might, some might not. Those kids who try to boil an egg and still can't, even when they're 40, are going to feel terrible about themselves. So their idea that somehow this confidence is going to overcome anxiety and heal the world and heal the stereotypes, it's going to be this cure-all thing, it's just overstated and built on assumptions, and we reject it all, ladies and gentlemen. So, where does this leave us? Our model in the negative team was that we should make this subject an important subject, but make it elective. And kids should have the right to choose rather than being forced. Our first speaker talked about the importance of freedom of choice and how progress can only really happen when kids can be creative and make choices for themselves. That's what will lead to confidence. So making it compulsory is unnecessary. Secondly, he argued that parents and families are the natural place for domestic skills to be learnt, because a lot of them involve difficult traditions and family situations, and poor old teachers are already overloaded. Our second speaker looked at the economic arguments and had very strong arguments. He argued that the schools really are wasting their time unless they are teaching what's important for our future, which is maths and science and technology. And that's where we should be spending our time and money. Secondly, again, too expensive to make domestic classes available to all students. It just doesn't make any sense. $500 million perhaps. So For these reasons, ladies and gentlemen, it comes down to this. What kind of future do you really want? A future where kids are free to make choices and to progress and to grow? Or a future where governments are enforcing old traditions upon us in some kind of old-fashioned setting that it's irrelevant to everybody? Digital society has made us free, and we should be free to make choices. Let's not make the mistake of enforcing compulsory domestic skills classes.